What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Gaetano from Nextiva. You already know what it is, man. Back at it with my boy Jack Kosakowski from Creation Agency. He is the CEO of the U.S. division. Today, folks, we are breaking it all down. The secret sauce behind viral content, the difference between viral content and silent traffic, and what the difference is, why it all matters for your business. We got a bunch of people signed up today. It's a full house in the building. That's what I'm talking about. So quick shout outs to the people that have been in the chat so far. Lisette Cruz, Mexico City. Buen dia. We got Johnny Smith from San Francisco, finally getting some sun. Yeah, I feel you. I'm in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I want to know where everybody's from. Like, put where you're from, because this is like always like interesting to see, you know, from around the world, or you know, even from around the states where everybody's coming in from. So put in the chat where you're from.
Drop it where you're from, baby. Becky Knight, Wyoming. Damn, I've never been to Wyoming. Always wanted to go. I know it's one of the most beautiful states in the U.S. Hal is tired of the rain. He's in Boca. What's up, Hal? Uwe, I don't know where he's from, but he said hi in the beginning. How you doing, man? Kat, what is up? Milwaukee. I know it's cold up there. Whoosh. Trevor from Gainesville. Stephanie in Tampa. We got Florida in the building representing right now. Oh, snap. Jason from New Jersey. What's up, Jason? Right next to my old stomping ground. NYC in the house. Jeff, what up, baby?
Yo, where's the West Coasters? We got like no West Coasters.
Yeah, Toronto in the building. We got no West Coast. Okay. Buffalo, that's what's up. So, by the way, Suzanne, how you doing in Buffalo? So if you guys didn't know, Nextiva is the official sponsor and partner of the Buffalo Sabres. So we have a really tight-knit relationship with those guys. Brandon from AZ, what up? Jack, you're also in Arizona.
Yep, Arizona love. And you know what, by the way, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, so I wish Nextiva would have sponsored the Bills, but you know, whatever. Maybe we'll get that next.
We'll get that next. Nick from San Diego, what is up, man? Oh, wow. So we got a packed house. I'm so happy to see everybody. Josh Ozarks, what's up? Hal said he can only hear me. So I think, Jack, if you can maybe speak louder or speak more directly into the computer, that would be dope. All right. Josh from Bentonville, how you doing, man? Oh, he's in Walmart Town. Bentonville, cool, man. So, I mean, Jack, let's set the context here, but a bit. What can the audience hope to learn from today? And at the end of this webinar, what will they know that they don't know right now?
Well, I think that to set the stage, like viral content is like not an easy thing to do. So, and sometimes it's like not even like technically the best strategy to get your outcome in most cases, which is more leads, and we'll talk about that and so forth. But I think there's a viral mindset, and just, you know, what's all the upside from viral content, I think is what I think people should take away from this. And then on top of that is like, you know, at least giving yourself like a strategy as to build your audience, you know, whether you're a brand or a personal brand, doesn't really matter, right? They're one and the same anymore. How, you know, just strategies, what types of content can help you get there, and just to kind of open your eyes to the idea of what virality can do for your business, right? I think a lot of people just don't even understand that.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to break that all down today. Quick question from Jeff. Will there be a replay sent in this webinar? Absolutely. You are going to all get a follow-up sent with a record of this webinar. That will be available as well. There's tons of gems in this. This is my secret sauce. This is Jack's secret. Guys, listen, we don't open the hood like this, okay? This is pure gold, and you're all getting it. Pure value, no sales pitch stuff, no nonsense, no BS. We're getting right to the juice, baby. So, yeah, Jeff, you already know what's up, man. So, so here we go, man. I mean, let's just dive into this. I'm going to start sharing my screen. We're going to just dive right in. We got another question that came in. It says Jack's audio, his visual is a little bit blurry for his video, but they can hear you well. But the visual for your camera, Jack, is a little bit blurry. So that may mean that you may need to adjust your camera settings if you can, or try to just kind of reconnect, refresh your internet if you can. So he's going to do that. I think it looks a little bit better from my perspective. Yeah.
Weird. It's showing up like completely fine on mine. So I don't know what's up with that. That's weird.
Okay. Well, in any case, we'll dive right in. We're gonna
you won't see my mug. You won't see my mug much, anyways. Once we get into this deck.
Yeah, once we get into this deck, guys, you're gonna see the real gold. So believe me, you're gonna want to see this deck probably more preferably than Jack. Sorry, Jack, no offense, but me too. I'm not that cute. So let's just get into this. I'm gonna share my screen, folks, and we're just gonna take it away. So here we go. I'm gonna go into presentation mode here in a second. And I'm going to be in slideshow mode. Boom. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to go back into slideshow mode. Boom. So you guys should be able to see it good. Jack, how are we looking?
Good. Looks good on my end.
All right, boom.
Does it look good for everybody else? Let's see if we get some yes, thumbs up.
All right. So we're about to start rocking and rolling. So boom. How to create viral content for your business. Real quick about me. I'm not going to make this too long, but I've worked with companies like Major League Baseball, Granger, Mattermark, Contactually, Pipedrive, Sales Hacker, yada, 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 and now Nextiva. My biggest bang in 2018 was helping Sales Hacker grow over 426%, taking them to an acquisition. And really my bread and butter are things like SEO, content, lead generation. And that's pretty much it. So you can see that picture of me too. I like to play the guitar in my free time, and that's just what I'm all about. Jack, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and let them know where you're from, what you're all about, and what is Creation Agency? What do you guys actually do?
Yeah, so we, I always say like we help brands build, fame and fortune, building brands, building demand. So this is stuff we do on a daily basis. Is how do we get how do we help brands build a bigger audience and kind of dominate the attention and the conversation around their industry? And, what kind of content, what from a demand generation standpoint, what kind of content helps them get there? So, a lot of this stuff, we've worked together doing this for a while is, how do you do this from a organic standpoint for the most part is what we're going to talk about today. And then, how do you use paid to kind of complement that strategy? That's kind of our strength as an agency.
Dope. Yeah. And I've been working with you guys since 2016, I believe, and it's been nothing but good times. So we're gonna keep it going. By the way, for the audience, at any point throughout this webinar, if you do have a question, you can just click that Ask a Question button. Go ahead and ask it, and we'll get to you soon. Also, we're going to try to make this as interactive as possible. So rather than us just talking at you, if you do have a really in-depth question about a specific thing, what we're going to try to do is call you up onto the webinar. Yes, that is right. So if your camera is ready, your audio is good to go, please make sure you're wearing headphones too. We will invite you onto the screen, call you on up. Don't be shy, and we will get you in here, and we'll talk to you about whatever kind of questions or problems you're facing in your business when it comes to content marketing, growing traffic, growing leads, social selling, whatever it may be. We can help you with that. So real quick, the agenda: silent traffic versus viral content. What makes content actually go viral? Some real life examples. And then we're going to shift it over to LinkedIn best practices, because that's a hotbed right now. It's where the magic is happening. So let's just dive right in. All right. So real quick, I created a video last month where I actually took all those annoying, stupid, generic cold DMs and pitches from my inbox, and I pitched people in real life at the mall.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So let me show you the results. All right. So that's me pitching Santa. and I know it's ridiculous, but like at the end of the day, nobody's really doing anything different on LinkedIn. It's a lot of the same stuff. And, I just said, like, damn, I got to do something different to stand out. Why don't I take this massive problem and make something, funny out of it, just to show people the point. And this thing got 88,000 views nearly in 2 weeks, 1,437 likes, 586 comments. You know what I'm saying? And it got 230 reshares. And these were all pretty legit people resharing this stuff. So the point is, like, what's the ROI on that? Like, sure, I made a lot of noise on LinkedIn, but guess what? I use that as leverage to get this HBR, baby, Harvard Business Review, right there. So this is like, one thing kind of leads to the next. This is all about building street cred at the end of the day. You want access, you want accessibility to things like this. You've got to build street cred. So another thing too, like, building Sales Hackers traffic over time. We were documenting everything about this and putting it out there. How are we growing traffic? How are we building posts that are actually going to matter to our audience? And then, doing podcast, you get, invited on podcasts such as this. This is the Evolving SEO podcast, one of the top marketing podcasts in the game right now. And look, they're looking to put you on a pedestal if you're willing to give away free information. And at the end of the day, you're just building more and more and more street cred, and it's all compounding. And when you compare stuff like that to, say, the viral video, then you look at the other on the other side of it. It's like you got a company like MayoClinic.org, and they're building the ultimate guide to mesothelioma, right? And now that's not getting 90,000 views in 2 weeks, but look at the traffic value of that keyword. They're number one in Google for the keyword mesothelioma. The traffic value of that keyword is about $340,000 a month. And you can see that the organic traffic trend pretty much directly aligns with the traffic value trend. So as traffic goes up, the value goes up. As traffic goes down, the value goes down. So at the end of the day, it's like they're going to get only 8,000 visits a month from this term, but that's going to add up over time to be far more than 90,000 views in 2 weeks. That's going to never go away. That's always going to be there. So
yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the ROI, right? So what's the ROI of 8,000 visitors if 10 of them converted, right? I mean, and it's like through not having to pay the $339,000, but just using a really good, smart content strategy to drive people to the site organically through a keyword that probably has an ROI of millions.
Exactly. I mean, mesothelioma, I know for sure that lawyers and doctors and stuff are paying millions of dollars for advertising and for referral fees. That's how Mayo Clinic is making money, ads and referrals. So, it costs them probably not that much money to make this guide. Their whole game is content marketing. So it probably cost them a couple $100 in research, maybe, to build the content out. And now look, they have a number one piece of ranking content that's getting consistent 8,000 visitors a month, traffic value of $340,000 a month just from this one thing. And they have hundreds, if not thousands, of guides and articles targeting these really expensive medical terms. Now, I just decided to use this as an example because it happens to be a very pricey example, so you can really see that. But if you're in the B2B tech space, this is all kind of the same concept. Like, for Nextiva, we're after terms like business phone service, small business phone service. What is the cost of voice over IP? All these things. We also target CIOs, so we build a lot of content specifically for CIOs. And I know, Jack, your content strategy for Creation Agency is also very robust in that you guys are targeting social strategy, social selling, Facebook advertising, all these sorts of things. And over time, this just adds up and adds up and adds up. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, Jack, before we get into how to measure content, was there any questions from the audience? Anything that came up, or did you have anything to add to this chat so far?
Well, I think as you're thinking about virality and content, thinking about attention, I think what we are all struggling in with all the companies that we work with, and any company, including probably everybody here, and let me know if I'm wrong, but we're just struggling to get people's attention. And so, content that doesn't get a lot of engagement or doesn't get a lot of views, it just goes right through your feed. So really thinking about the competitive advantages, how do I get one big win with one big piece of content that could drive 50% of your traffic, But honestly, it's really about, it gets 50% of the attention in somebody's feed, right? We need to get attention. Virality allows you to get other people, to get you to their audience, to get the attention from people that you can't get on your own. So if you really want to think about virality is, how do I get other people to share my message in a very organic way and honestly do the marketing for me? That's what virality is. It's letting other people do the marketing for you.
Yep. Absolutely. And I mean, like, Jack, maybe you can share this with the audience, but like, you've been really successful with a lot of your content marketing, especially on social media. I think there's nobody doing Twitter marketing better than you. You've kind of cracked the code to Twitter somehow, which is really impressive. And then also, your LinkedIn game is really strong. Like, the question I have right now is like, how do you balance, like, yeah, I want to go for these big gangbuster posts, but then you also have that like slow and steady game that's going to be more bottom funnel oriented. How do you go about dividing your efforts on going top funnel, real big idea, get new people to notice you, versus like, yeah, the real buyer oriented stuff at the bottom of the funnel that's going to ultimately get conversions and leads, whereas the top funnel stuff is just going to get awareness? Like, how do you divide your efforts on that?
So what I figured out is that 75% of the content that I share is not mine. So wow. I like to draw people in from other people's content, and there's a variety of upside to that. One is that, if you strategically do it and let's say you're in business and you're in sales and you want to have a conversation with somebody, if you share something that they're doing, you're giving yourself a shot at starting a conversation with them because you can become an advocate. Now, on a larger scale, I like to share stuff that's interesting and kind of aligns in the sphere of thought leadership or things that we do, clients that we're looking for, which is like, embedding videos and of other people's content that's, valuable and gives them something personally and professionally they can walk away with. And I think it's the consistent effect of a compounding interest, right? With building an audience and building engagement. And then 25% of the content that I share is somewhat like I like to call self-serving, right? It's something, it's highlighting something that we do really well that could connect with a potential prospect, and using, especially on LinkedIn, Twitter, is using all of that momentum that I have, sharing third-party content to, once in a while, every 5 posts, push something that's, kind of part of my agenda that I'm trying to get an outcome from a business perspective. But I think it's motive, right? It's like, what's your motive as a company? And most people's motive is me, and they can't figure out why nobody wants to hear about me over and over and over. But it's this whole third-party strategy of collaboration and figuring out, how do I work with other people, and how do I share something from other people that I can get association value from, right? It's like, if I share something, just for example, like that Seth Godin does, and I put my own little twist on it, but I share a Seth Godin video and embed that into my LinkedIn, and I put, a little bit of twist on what he's saying. Now I get that, people know who Seth Godin is, but they might not know who I am. So now I'm bringing them over to engage. And then I'm sharing something a little bit later that shows that I was on a podcast, the same podcast Seth Godin was, right? So it's third-party validation, third-party content to, give tons of value, and then retargeting every, so often with something that I could draw people into our business.
Dude, that's brilliant, man. And it's, it's the signal to noise ratio at the end of the day. It sounds like your ratio is 5 to 1. For every 5 pieces of third-party content that you share, you throw something else into the mix, which I think is a fantastic ratio. I would absolutely recommend that to everybody. All right, so Brandon has a question. How do you get these super busy CIOs to respond? Brandon, do you want to come on up, man? Maybe let me invite Brandon up real quick and see if we can get him on before we continue with this webinar. We'll take a question real quick. Brandon, I'm going to invite you on screen. If you're able to do it, awesome. If not, it's all good. Let's see. I found you. I'm going to just invite you on up, buddy. So you should see the screen prompting you to come on up. So if you can get that in, just accept and go ahead. So you should see that coming through any moment now. And hopefully he can join. And if not, it's all good.
Let's go with this one real quick. James Murphy, is there an ideal time to share content? Does time of day or which day share you matter? And share matter. So timing. What you share. I absolutely not. The funny thing is, like, I read all these posts about data-driven stuff, and all that stuff's great. But some of the best posts I get, I do everything on the fly. I don't pre-tweet, or I don't set up Sprout Social on my personal stuff, especially now with brand stuff we do. We try to play by the rules when it comes to time and follow the data. But for the most part, I just share stuff as I see it. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, especially from a social media perspective of like, if you see something and you think it's got some real massive value personally and professionally to your network, share it whenever. I mean, if it's 11 p.m. at night, share it at 11 p.m. at night. Some of the best content, even from a brand perspective, some of our clients, we've seen night posts do a lot better because you're not fighting the noise in the feed. So I wouldn't be too concerned about what time you share something or when you share something. I would be more concerned about making sure you share something that you feel is like super valuable and it really cuts the noise versus everything else that you're reading or watching.
Yep. 100%. I would just say the only rule of thumb is don't post between midnight and like 7 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably not going to get great results if you do that. But like Jack said, try a Saturday post. You'd be surprised. Or a Sunday post, Sunday night, actually. Sunday, because you know what it is? A lot of busy executives, Sunday night is a big thing for them because they're not distracted. They want to get ahead for the week. I know I do that. Because during the day, it's mayhem. There's calls, there's emails, there's fires that got to be put out, there's meetings, there's this, there's that, yada, yada, yada. Sunday night is like their little sanctuary time. So they're going to be browsing through LinkedIn, looking for interesting stuff. And that could be a good opportunity to, like Jack said, it's not that busy. So you can really stand out. So you got to mix it up a little bit.
Well, let's get back to Brandon's question on that too, is that, we work with a big, we run the marketing for a big conference called onug.net. It's a huge CIO IT conference. And what we find is that when we send out emails on Sunday nights, we get the absolute best engagement rates, click-through rates, and so forth. So the thing about, busy executives is like Sunday night seems to be, especially CIOs, it seems to be when they're got quiet time, maybe they put their kids to bed or, and so they're really kind of trying to catch up for Monday. So maybe try doing a little bit of communication on a Sunday night and sending out those one-to-one prospecting emails. And then you just got to get real clear on your messaging. One of the things we found after testing a lot is like, you have to be super short and super sweet with one small call to action as to what you can offer. And you have to do it in a very strategic way with less copy. So if I could give you any advice from our perspective on a marketing and kind of a one-to-one outreach, short, sweet, and try Sunday nights because you're fighting the inbox of a CIO looks like a cyclone hurricane just hit, right? During busy hours.
Yep. Yeah. If I could just add to that before we continue, I got one of the best cold emails of my life the other week. And this person did 3 things that I thought were really brilliant. It was only about 3 to 4 sentences. Sentence 1, this person researched me, knew that I play the guitar and that I enjoy creating music. This person said that, hey, I listened to your song. So that got my attention. That's number 1, familiarity. He did his research. Number 2 was... here are the problems. He also said, I speak to directors of demand generation all the time, all day long. And I know from speaking with them so regularly that these things are the top problems that demand generation leaders are facing, which was true. He was right about the things that he said were problems. And then the third thing that he said was, here are the results that we're getting for your top competitor, Ring Central. Familiarity, research, pain, solution, pressure from outside forces, competitor. 3 things. Can we talk this week when you're free? He earned my respect with that one. And at the same time, he didn't just cold email me. He hit me up on LinkedIn. He tweeted at me and he DM'd me on Instagram.
Yep.
Because he knows I'm active on Instagram. So you've got to find where these people are. It's not just cold email. It's not just LinkedIn. You've got to come from every angle. And this guy was pretty real.
I think to that point too is that it takes 7 touches 7 to 9 touches with CIOs to get a response. So you have to be consistently setting up a cadence and testing different times to see when you can get that CIO to respond. So if you're only doing 3 to 4 times outreach, you're only halfway there. Like you've got to do 7 touches. But we should probably dive into the content.
Right. Let's dive into the content. Let's get back to the content. So I'm going to get back to where we were at. I'm going to get back to the featured presentation here. You guys should be able to see my screen. And we're going to get back to where we were, which was right here. So boom, we already kind of said this, but yeah, at the end of the day, guys, I mean, if you're truly trying to achieve that top funnel virality, you've got to think outside the box because it's not about leads. So this is the decision journey example. Like I don't use awareness, interest, decision, consideration. I don't use ADA, that 4-letter acronym that like a lot of people use. I go think about this from the customer journey: unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. So the stage you're trying to hit when you're going for that top funnel virality is, I'm not aware that I have a problem. I've never considered that we may have a problem with this XYZ business challenge. So that means you can get as wacky and creative as you want, because guess what? Nextiva sells business phone service, CRM, live chat for your website, surveys, and analytics. Do you think if I got on LinkedIn and started talking about business phone service and CRM, that people would say, wow, that's really awesome? Like, no, they'd be like, right? So I've got to do shit that's wacky and outside the box, such as cold pitching Santa at the mall to get people's attention. Jack, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I think entertainment. So I think what a lot of people are thinking about is your first touch when you're doing virality is trying to just capture their attention. And sometimes, that's got to be through entertainment. It's got to be something that's, funny, that's outside, really outside of the box. And somebody's like, oh my God, that's entertaining. I want to watch that. I think, from an educational standpoint, you can do it that way. Like if you look at Jay Shetty and what he's doing, you can do like some really massive wisdom. You can do stuff about wisdom and, storytelling and different things. But you got to think about it like this. It's not, you actually probably shouldn't even talk about your product in your virality videos, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you look at like, one of the very few companies that's ever gotten by with it, and they actually sold for $1 billion because of one viral video, was Dollar Shave Club, right? But actually, like Dollar Shave Club, if you watch the video that they did, yeah, it does talk about their product, but it does it in such just an obnoxious, hilarious way. And, that's a first touch. Most people probably didn't go buy Dollar Shave Club after they saw that. But what it did was it captured somebody's attention long enough to let them retarget them and start to build a relationship so that it drove enough credibility and curiosity that somebody would go, oh, 6 months later, I need razors. Oh, Dollar Shave Club, I've been watching their videos. I should go check that out. You're trying to get back from B2B, B2C. That's what your virality is. It's first touch, grab somebody's attention and give them that first impression like, wow, these guys, this company is awesome. This person is awesome. I want to follow more of what they do.
Yep. Totally, man. And I'll give you another example of something we did at Pipedrive. So I used to run SEO and content marketing there. And on April Fool's Day, we put out a post that said, customer case study, guy manages his dating Tinder pipeline with Pipedrive CRM. And we created this whole fake scenario where he would have like random, like different girls and dates and notes and follow-ups and activities and all this stuff in his sales pipeline. And the goal was to find a girlfriend. And then at the end of the post, we just said, just kidding, April Fools. But this thing blew up. People thought it was like legit. Like, oh my God, some guy actually managed his dating pipeline on Tinder with Pipedrive. Like, that's so cool. That's sick. But it wasn't true, but we just did it to build buzz, and it works. So that's a way you can integrate your product, just like Jack said with Dollar Shave Club. They blew it out of the water, of course, but like that was a creative way to build the product into something that could achieve virality.
When you're thinking about virality, you got to start to think. You got to have some cojones, right? I mean, you got to really, you have to kind of push the limits a bit in the way that you deliver and articulate a story or a message, and you really got to think through it. I think. As we talk through this, it's really about creativity and building out an actual strategy around creativity versus, just putting together some boring old content, which is what most people are doing, and
Yep.
thinking they're going to go viral, even if you put a lot of money into it. You really have to think through it and build a real strategy.
100%. And I'll tell you, in our space, in UCaaS, which is Unified Communication as a Service, every single company is doing the same thing: digital transformation, right? All these like dry corporate stuff, and they're all going for that bottom phase, product aware, right? And that's why we're going to win, because we're thinking long term. We're going to capture people at the top of the funnel before they get to the bottom, so they're already going to know about us. And hopefully that's going to help us win the deals and influence deals as marketers. And that's what our whole job is. So real quick, I'm not going to bore you with the geeky stuff too much, but this is the way you can evaluate the effectiveness of your content on your website from a quantitative perspective. You can use SEO spiders and crawlers. One that I use is Screaming Frog, and you can extract all this stuff with APIs and that plug into backlink sources and Google Analytics. I know it's getting a little geeky and technical, but just real quick, a few of the things that I look at by content is average time on page, bounce rate, unique page views. I look at the metadata to see how that's looking and performing. Mobile friendliness. There's a reading difficulty score called the Flesch-Kincaid readability model, and it grades your content on how difficult it is to read from grade level as you were in school type thing. And then you look at backlink sources such as Ahrefs, Moz, Majestic, and then social shares as well. So imagine if you crawled all your content, looked at it from a data perspective, you can already see what's working. And of course, if you have goal conversions set up in Google Analytics, you can also slice and dice this by which content is actually driving leads to your business. From a qualitative perspective, the way that I did this at Pipedrive and the way that I do it now is, I try to break things down by a couple of different buckets. So content buckets, and I try to see if I'm building content for, let's say, Pipedrive, the content strategy is really targeting CRM topics, sales process, sales management, sales prospecting, sales reporting. I like to look at those in cohorts and see okay, is our sales reporting content getting more leads than, say, our sales process content? Are we creating too much top of the funnel content for sales process topics and not enough for, say, sales management? And you can, this starts to get into a rabbit hole here, but you can basically segment topics by alignment. You can see where in the decision stage these buyers are, where you're producing content. You can also categorize it by the jobs to be done. So the concept behind this is that, people hire your software to do a job for them. They don't buy it because it has features. They buy it to do a job for them. So the 5 jobs that a sales CRM is supposed to do for people is create pipeline visibility, drive actions and follow-up, increase sales productivity, provide a reliable system of record or a single source of truth with the data, and then sales process optimization. So we were aligning content that we were building not so much to the decision journeys of the customers, but back to the jobs that they're trying to accomplish. And we figured that out by doing customer research. So there's some quick tips there, but let's get into what makes content actually go viral. So first of all, what is share-worthy content? Jack, break this down, baby. What is the point? Why are people going to bother sharing your content in the first place? What makes it share-worthy?
I mean, a lot of times it's some type of emotion, right? They see something and it gets them kind of energized instantaneously, right? They see something that's funny, they're like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I got to share this to everybody, and they tag somebody or they tag somebody in their post. I think there's different types of emotions, and everybody kind of uses them differently, right? I mean, there's some that use the story of somebody and something tragic that happened to them, and they turned it into the hero story. There's so many different ways you can go about it, but if you don't have a polarizing story that pulls an emotion instantaneously on somebody, you don't have anything that's viral. So the emotion has to be super strong, whatever emotion that is, and there's many that you can tug on. But if you don't have that, your chances of going viral are slim to none.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And if you're really thinking let's get in a room and think about how to build viral content from scratch, start with the emotion. What emotion am I trying to achieve from the audience by result of doing this content. And for me, doing that viral video on, pitching Santa, it was humor. It was, identifying a problem, obviously, but it was humor. Humor is what I started. What can I do that's funny? You know what I'm saying? So you can look at this content pillars chart right here. You can see the various kinds of emotions. You can align that back to content types. So, heartwarming facts, or, inspiring video, or shocking like images, like all that stuff. You can do it in all these various different topics. These happen to be, by the way, the most viral topics from BuzzSumo. So things like health, pets, babies, love, music, celebrities, like dog memes and stuff, like always go cats and all these. Like I see people on LinkedIn sharing videos of like lions running together in Africa, and then they're like, "Oh, your marketing team should be like this because there's camaraderie, rah rah rah," and then it somehow gets thousands of shares and likes because it's like rah rah content. But let's go back to this. So share-worthy content, pretty much, does it provide value? Does it allow you to grow and nurture relationships? Will sharing that content help your audience better define who you are? Will those who share your content better understand your brand? Will sharing it provide some sense of self-fulfillment or third-party validation, as Jack likes to say? Oh, look, he's sharing this because he wants to be associated with Seth Godin. Oh, now I'm on the same podcast as Seth Godin. So it creates that sort of self-fulfilling association. And then
it's relatable. Yeah. The key word is relatable. When you can pull an emotion, and if I would analyze, if you really want to build a viral content strategy, I would analyze all the content that you're seeing and the things that make you stop and go, oh, shoot, like this is awesome, right? And make you share it. And think about the emotional state you're in at that point, because a lot of times it's a very polarizing emotion that's relatable to you, right? I shared a video the other day that I saw on Facebook, and I shared it on my LinkedIn, was about going through the car buying experience. It was a salesperson doing a humorous spinoff of like what it's like to go through the process as a buyer. And it was hilarious. And I just thought to myself, like, the relatable aspect of it is that it's funnier than heck, right? But the emotional stuff is that it's funny as heck. I felt like almost like I was in it. I was relating to it because I could remember when I bought my first car, the experience was like almost identical, right? So they took a scenario, they made it almost identical to anybody's buying experience. And, you could take the emotion away from it multiple times. Humorous, you could be mad. I mean, there's probably people that were watching it going, gosh, I hate buying a car, but this is hilarious because it, makes me go back to that piece. So how do you relatable is always the number one thing. I think that's what building an audience and understanding your audience is. You have to share things that 80% of your audience will get emotion out of or value personally and professionally. And I see that's where a lot of people go wrong, is they built this audience, but they have no idea how to share something that's emotional and relatable to that audience. They're sharing stuff that would be more emotional, relatable to another audience.
Yep, absolutely. So let's get into headlines. So headline best practices. Headlines are the key, or a major key to achieving virality and unlocking massive engagement with your content. One thing that I take a lot of pride in, and Jack takes a lot of pride in this as well, is if he's doing a LinkedIn post, for example, that first opening sentence has to make you say, whoa, I got to stop my feed. I got to stop my tracks. I got to see what this is about. Same thing here. So this is from BuzzSumo, and this on the left is from BuzzSumo. On the right is from, on the left is from Buffer. On the right is from CoSchedule. So these phrases are the most popular phrases that were used in the most successful headlines of content in 2017. This is a bit old, but I think it's still relevant. So this is like if you start off an article with the headlines, phrase of like, this is for example, way that top chief marketing officers are achieving growth in 2019. Like people are going to want to click that because they hear this is they know for sure it's going to be, actionable and all this sort of stuff. And then to the right, the graph on the right, CoSchedule recommends going extremely positive, like Jack said, or extremely negative. Like which side of the spectrum are you going to be on? Start with that emotion. You can always go things like always, fastest, easiest, most, greatest, largest, yada, yada, yada. On the negative side, you can do worst, never, nothing, no one, no way, by no means, all this stuff. So the other cool thing about this is if you use these phrases in your content, you start to write in a way that's more like how people speak. And this is also what Google favors, by the way. They don't want you writing like a robot. They want you writing in natural text, because with their natural language processing machine learning, it's going to reward content that sounds more human than sounds more robotic.
Yeah, and it's about, I always call it the hook. So like he said, your first sentence has to be a hook. It has to be an emotional hook. And it has to like leave some curiosity, right? Because what a lot of people do is they might put a good video in, and here's the other thing about virality is that your thumbnail has to be the thing that it catches people. So a lot of people don't realize that, let's just use LinkedIn as an example. When you share a video, you have to have a thumbnail on that video, because otherwise it could, it won't tell the story of what that video is. So it's like that 1 second hook as you're going through the feed has to stop. That's why you see so many people talking about thumbnails, and you have to do that, the editing of your video. So that's a number one step if you're making good video content, especially for virality. The other thing is you have to have the hook, and it has to be conversational. So you have to write that hook headline, which is, you want to know how 21 salespeople are mastering the cold call and setting 5x more meetings, right? Question mark. I mean, that's a hook, right? If you're in sales, you're like, hell, I can't figure out how to cold call. I want to know how 21 of the best salespeople are doing it, right? Then you have to tell a story that goes along with that, so that you could keep them engaged in that copy long enough where they feel like you're talking to them one-to-one, and then to drive them to the video. A lot of people think the video itself is going to do that, or whatever you're sharing. No, it's actually the copy and that hook that's going to get them to the video. So you really got to think through, not only how do I create some really powerful, good content, video obviously is what I'd recommend, but how do I get somebody to actually watch that video? You have to nail the copy and the video. You can't do one or the other.
Yeah. And that's gold right there, baby. I couldn't say it any better myself. All right, cool. So let's get into some LinkedIn best practices with examples real quick. This is from the LinkedIn engineering blog, baby. This is how the algorithm works. You go and create content. It goes through a content quality scoring mechanism powered by their organic newsfeed algorithm. And then it goes through a couple of more filters. But the thing I want to point out is that it actually gets to the point where a human editor will review that content and deem whether or not it is worthy of being pushed further into the virality sphere, if you want to call it that. So I just thought this was fascinating to point out. This comes right from the LinkedIn engineering blog, folks. So there is a science behind how this stuff works. Just wanted to point that out to you there. So real quick, I want to show you an example from the chief operating officer from Lucidchart. He earned 7 million views on LinkedIn in 2018. How the hell did he do it?
Well, here it is. Gabe Villamizar was helping him with this strategy.
Gabe is a beast. But I mean, these guys, like, look, set the context. They sell. Jack, how do you explain what Lucidchart sells? It's like a mapping. How do you explain it?
It's so you can blueprint anything in your business, whether that's a any type of workflow, whether that's now they have LinkedIn, they have a Lucidchart for sales, so you could map out from Salesforce all the decision makers inside of an enterprise account, so that you're doing the proper outreach to the right people. I mean, it's a really fascinating software. They also have like a Canva version of their software where you can do all of your creative for marketers. They have a lot of cool stuff, but it's really all freemium model type stuff. So the cool thing about them is they use virality, and they've got not only is their COO doing it from a thought leadership perspective, but they're doing it from a brand perspective. So go to their Facebook page and look at the videos that they do, the square videos. That's a virality effect to the freemium model, because they're just driving people in just to try to get you to try something, and they're using virality to do it. They're amazing at it.
Yeah, they're crushing it. So yeah, so they're a visual kind of flow charting software, but guess what? They're not on LinkedIn talking about visual flow charts and sales process optimization. They're telling freaking stories about their business, how to deal with rejection, why kindness wins, the secret to effective hiring, communication hacks, the power of listening, yada, yada, yada. Let's look at an example right here. And these are stories and examples and topics that anybody on this webinar right now could take to the pen and paper and put together a story and publish, and it would over time start to pick up steam. There's nothing stopping anyone on this webinar from doing this. So here's the example. He talks about when he first hired one of the first team members at Lucidchart. He was happy, he was thrilled, but he made a management mistake. He tried to shape this employee to doing things the way he wanted them to be done. And then he realized, oh my God, I'm micromanaging. I need to ease up and let this employee shine. I need to let them figure out their own processes, let them be more autonomous in their day to day. And then, look at the result, 3,092 likes, 163 comments, hashtag lucid learning. They created their own kind of branded hashtag, which I think is pretty cool. And over time, I mean, this just starts picking up steam. And the ROI of this is like, look, they know you, you're top of mind. They're going to be curious. What's this Lucidchart stuff all about? I think I got to check it out because they're doing some cool shit online. And it's about time I start looking into what they do. Even though it may not be 100% relevant, guess what? You still know them. When you guys get this deck, you're going to see the LinkedIn feed link that has all the content that they put together. They put together like a cool slideshow on this, so you'll be able to click through it and share it. But Jack, did you have anything to add to this Dave Grohl example?
Well, I think this is the future of what marketing looks like. Marketing looks like this is that your executives or the people that are kind of leading the charge, people are going to get to your brand faster, quicker, and at more scale through the people in your company that are leading the voice and through them sharing and giving away stuff that's relatable to other people, right? So, I mean, the thing is, like, this is like an emotional thing, right? It's kind of emotional. It's like, he's getting you to think about the first time you hired somebody. And then he's talking about the pain of it and, what he thought and then what happened. There's lots of people that I guarantee could easily relate to this story. And that's why you're getting so much engagement, right? 3,000 likes, 163 comments is because somebody actually, there's a ton of people out there that could say, that's me. Like that is me. So, this is a first touch. How much business did this drive? Who knows? But how many people went and looked to see who the heck is Dave Grohl? Wow, this is a smart guy. I want to follow him. And then over time, after enough touches, because Dave's pretty consistent about putting out really good content, said, oh, what is Lucidchart? How could Lucidchart help me? And I wonder how many conversations Dave started that could have led to a product conversation. And the thing is, this is free. This post probably took him 10 minutes. He probably enjoyed sharing this with somebody, almost like getting this story off his chest. And the business value of it is he got virality. That's viral. And probably gained a whole bunch of new connections, which in return, he's sharing stuff about Lucidchart, and Lucidchart in the end now will get the business out of it. How do you track that? That's the tough part, but that's where people got to get over it. He doesn't care how he's tracking it. He doesn't have that motive that he's going to drive more business with this. He has this motive to be smart, help more people get smarter from his experiences.
Right. And this is a C-level person, guys. Now, this is a major way to stand out. If you can get your C-level execs on board with this kind of strategy, you're going to win because let's face it, most C-level people on LinkedIn, like they're just ghosts. Like you go to any CMO's profile, you see nothing. You go to any COO's profile, you see nothing. CIO profile, you see nothing. There's nobody really out there doing this. This is wide open. And if you can get somebody in your organization to start building their thought leadership, you can open doors that you never thought were possible. So let's keep it.
Yaniv, where you at, bro?
Yeah, Yaniv's getting better. He's getting better. I'm getting him on board. He's got work to do, but he's getting better. So Jack, this is a brilliant example of one that you did. The 7 truths. So list content, by the way, in the feed is absolute gold. Look at this. Killer opening line. In sales, you either evolve or die. Oh my God, that stops me in my tracks. 7 truths. I've got to click the more button to see what those 7 truths are. Short-term versus long-term. All right, I'm sold. What the hell is this all about? Oh man, he breaks it down hardcore, giving people the sauce that they weren't ready for. Salesperson follows a script. Professional makes up their own. He shows the difference between, a robotic person that probably doesn't get that great results versus like a true professional that's killing it. And then at the end, you see the result there. You either evolve or die. You either whine or win. 377 likes, 34 comments. And this is just another day in the life for you, Jack. I mean, this is every week for you. So like, dude, this is brilliant. I thought this is for sure worth calling out. Anything to add to this, man?
I don't even remember that post, but that's a really good post. I want to repost that.
That was an old one, man. I dug into your archives to find that shit.
That's a good one. Send that link to me.
That's a good one, man. So let's keep this moving. So why should you write updates instead of articles? Well, they're super conversational. They're easy to digest. We just kind of showed you that. Tons of engagement on Jack's post, the Lucid Chart post, my video, et cetera, et cetera. It sparks engagement and debate. Here's the other thing: likes and comments, comment velocity fuel the fire. So you've got to respond to comments. Don't be one of those people that just lets comments rack up on your post and you just don't comment back because it looks like then like you're a narcissistic jerk and that you're not trying to engage. And what is the real outcome of that is that you're just not gonna, your post is not gonna grow because LinkedIn counts comments as part of this virality mechanism that they're trying to unlock. And then of course, LinkedIn doesn't want you to leave. So the more engagement that you get over time on your posts, LinkedIn starts to recognize you as someone that gets consistent engagement. They will continue rewarding you because guess what, folks? At the end of the day, LinkedIn, and this goes for any social media platform, they need people to get stuck on that platform all day long so that they can make their advertisers happy, so that they can make more money. And the reason they do that is because advertisers need access to the audience, the community, the people, and without engaging content, there's no chance of that happening. I just give an example down below in the comments about, sometimes I respond to everybody for the most part in every LinkedIn post, because if you don't, virality is absolutely not impossible. So virality only happens by the speed that you respond to people too. And I'm not saying you need to sit around and just wait, every second, but the faster you get back to people, that's how LinkedIn's feed is thinking in minutes, right? I mean, they're thinking in minutes. There's all this content going on. If you look at the way that they base their virality and the way that they base their algorithm is its speed. So you need to get to respond to people. And the easiest way to do that is sometimes I have a little bit of a emoji game, right? I just literally put a smiley face and a fist just to let people know, hey, thanks. Thanks for actually taking the time to, put some engagement on my post versus somebody else, or, thanks for starting a conversation or adding to the conversation. And it's, to me, it's just like people want to engage with brands that engage back. They want to engage with people that engage back. And if you don't do that, it's a bad first impression. And you'll never get big enough audience to really give yourself a chance at virality. Yep. And another quick productivity hack for you. Well, this is what I do. I answer all my comments on mobile and I do voice to text. So I'll go on my LinkedIn app on my iPhone right here and I will speak the responses back. Yeah, thanks so much for your comment, Tom. I really agree with your point. I think it's awesome that you did XYZ. Yeah, I hope we can talk more in the future. Boom, send, boom, on to the next one. And instead of typing all this out or like I can multitask, I can type this stuff out, I can talk it out while I'm doing other stuff, and it's not that hard to do. So quick little tip there. That's how I do it. Real quick. So I wrote this article on LinkedIn called "Why Are So Many Marketers Bragging About How Rich They Are?" You saw those ridiculous Ty Lopez ads and stuff all over the internet. So I decided to call that out, and it got a it was crickets, man. 700 views, 25 likes, 9 comments, 3 shares, big whoop. Then 10 reasons why most B2B companies suck at content marketing, 542 likes, 89,000 views, 113 comments. I mean, guys, the proof is in the pudding, baby. Storytelling, lists, et cetera, all the stuff we've been talking about on this webinar. I mean, it just works. Don't waste your time writing articles, long form articles on LinkedIn. They're never going to rank in Google. LinkedIn's downplaying them. Just don't even bother wasting your time. You're better off in the feed.
Yeah, you have to embed video too. You can't just share video. You can't share a YouTube link. You have to actually embed video. And then just, what I do is I'll rip somebody else's video and then give them credit with the link in the comments, so that I'm not doing any plagiarization. I'm not, stealing people's content. I'm giving them props, right? And I'm actually giving them more visibility and more click-throughs. I'm just embedding their video and then putting a link in the comments to go see the original video or the original article where the video came from, with, giving people credit as well.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, don't post YouTube links because that's a Google company and they're a Microsoft competitor. So don't do that. They're not gonna want competitor content formats in their feed. Real quick, my former CEO of my past company, Max, he wrote a post on remote work, another huge topic right now. And he picked a side. So that's the other thing. If you can pick a side in a controversial topic, you're going to go far. And look at the results. 800,000 freaking views, 408 comments, 7,000 likes. I think by the time this thing fizzled out, it was over 1 million views. It was absolutely ridiculous. Even I couldn't believe it. I mean, he absolutely struck gold with that one. It was sick. I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding, guys. I know we're hitting the hammer over the head here, but this is possible. Like, we're not making this stuff up. We've got the proof to back this stuff up. So yeah, pro tip, by the way, if you're trying to promote content in LinkedIn, like Jack said, don't just drop a link to an article in your feed and think it's going to go. Tell a story about the article and then encourage people to visit the first link in the first comment. Because if you put a link in the feed, LinkedIn is going to think that you're trying to tell people to go external and they don't want you to leave. So you may have even signed up for this webinar because I put the first link, the link in the first comment. And the reason I do that is because I know that if I don't, that LinkedIn will not let the post go very far. So that's why I do that. Let's skip this part. It's a little too technical and we're running out of time. So how to create weekly content that resonates. Jack, why don't you break this down for us, man?
Sorry. Had to go down.
Cool.
Did you ask me a question?
Yeah. So pretty much, I mean, like, if you're creating weekly content that resonates, some of the things that I do is like, I look for, like you even talked about this earlier, you use third-party content, you summarize it, you even embed videos into your feed. That's a great way to do it. You can answer questions on Quora and summarize it in a status update. That's a brilliant way to get easy content repurposing going. You can use your own company's content from the blog and summarize it. So there's no excuse. I mean, if your company has a blog, which I'm sure it does, you can find something good to talk about from there, but don't just share the link. Summarize it in a story, make it relatable, use inspiration from your weekly day-to-day. Some questions. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Get creative on how you curate things. I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat, is that you could be promoting a boring blog post, but you could actually go create a really funny video that you're using that as the kind of the creative to get people to go to that boring blog post. So getting creative on how you curate content. I mean, we kind of did that with this webinar, right? It's like we were sharing just the standard still creative. And then I said to Gaetano, I said, well, let's make something, let's make a GIF, right? Let's make an animated GIF that like is square. And you guys can see that if you're connected with one of us on LinkedIn, you can see we did 2 variations of it. And we almost 3x'd the number of signups within a 2-day period from that creative. So,
right.
And that's from a lead gen perspective. But if you look at the amount of views that GIF got compared to the still creative, it was like 10x more views and it captured 10x more people's attention. So, sometimes it's not even reinventing the wheel on the content. It's reinventing the wheel on what content do you use? What creative do you use to drive people to that content?
Right. So, real quick, some questions to consider during content ideation. If you're starting from scratch, you have nowhere where to start. Here's a few ideas. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but you can talk about problems that are happening in your industry and you can give your POV on that. You can talk about what skills are crucial to succeed in your role or industry. No matter what target buyer you're going after, the skills of that persona are always a good thing to talk about. So for example, at Sales Hacker, we were after VPs of sales. So what are the top skills that all VPs of sales must have in order to be successful in 2019? You could replace VP of sales with anything: CIO, CTO, CEO, whatever the case is, you can replace that with anything. The future of your industry, trends and predictions. These are always huge things. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self? That's always a pretty interesting one. Advice that you would give college grads, cutting edge tools that you can provide insight on. I think Scott Brinker from HubSpot is the godfather of that one, but you can still do it too. Not to say that you can't, dip your toe into that pool. You can also use Google auto suggest, and people also ask box in Google. So if you just type objection handling, I use this as an example, in Google, you can see people also asking about what are objections? How do you overcome them? What does it mean? How do you qualify the customer? What qualifies a prospect? Already these ideas are waterfalling. Lead qualification. Look at the auto suggest. People want to know about the process, the checklist, the questions. How do you do it in Salesforce? What are the stages? Automatically, this is like 5, 6, 7 topic ideas that you can build just by using Google auto suggest. You don't need some fancy keyword research tool. Freaking Google is telling you exactly what to do, what people want, in the order of the most important thing. Right there, baby. So there you have it. I mean, there's really no excuse to this anymore. What content will go viral? I think we're just going to sum this up here before we open it up for Q&A. We're about at the end. So content that is most likely to go viral, like Jack said, storytelling with an emotional hook. Plant that into your brains. If there's one thing that you get out of this webinar, it should be that. Unique research or data-driven posts. So you can use third-party resources for that. You don't have to go crazy trying to figure out ways to create your own data. Question-based content, that's always a good one. Start off your post with a question. Bold, thought-provoking, controversial, like I did. You can pitch Santa at the mall. Got to be careful with it, though. You don't want to do anything that's going to offend people, but you got to be, a little kooky. And then downloadable templates, checklists, special opportunities. People love free shit, guys. Keenan did a fascinating little mini study where he gave away like a bunch of free books on his LinkedIn, and people were going nuts. And then the next post was, hey, can everybody go to my Amazon account and leave me a 5-star review? And like no one did it. So, I mean, it's just human nature. People want stuff, but they don't want to give anything. So that's the way it works.
Well, and I think we missed one thing here, and that's
what do we miss?
If you want to go viral, a lot of times the best thing to do is to go find somebody that has a viral audience and collaborate with them. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is you can't go viral if you have no audience to go viral with or no budget from a media perspective, right?
Right.
So that's why, especially if you have a brand budget, the easiest way to go viral is to create something, a good storytelling, which is all the things that we just talked about, but go find somebody that has a big enough audience that already relates to your brand, or those people can actually, those people, they have an audience of people that could actually become a customer of yours and, build a partnership with them. A lot of times you have to pay, especially if that big audience, but that's why you see every single Super Bowl commercial, right? They go get a celebrity. They go pay celebrities for one reason only, right? Because they know those people are going to share on their channels and they're going to get 1 million views. But that's a very, very advanced strategy, probably more for like an enterprise high mid-market, to be fair. But you could still do it on a lower level is, ask Gaetano, who's got a pretty big audience, ask me, who's got a pretty big audience, to interview on your podcast, right? Ask cool people. I mean, I'm amazed at how many times Seth Godin goes on the average person's podcast, right? Yeah. I'm amazed, and really, what does it come down to is you just got to ask them. I mean, a lot of people, if you're going to tell their story and you're going to do some marketing for them, if you just ask them in the right way and you show that it's going to get them more reach and spread and more ways to get their voice out. At the lowest level, just go find normal people that have a big audience and see what you can do from a collaboration standpoint.
Yep, exactly. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I say yes to a lot of stuff, and the reason I say yes to a lot of stuff, even though it may be like average or not as popular as it could be yet, I know that someday it will be or could be. So, imagine if you're like one of the first people on some podcast that blows up, that person's going to remember you as giving them a shot when they were to nobody. And now they're huge. They're going to bring you back and it's going to, pay off for you. So, real quick.
One thing we forgot is, using your people internally. I think this is where a lot of companies go wrong is if you've got 100 employees and you're working on a campaign, get your employees to help get them involved. And what I mean by that is, create a Slack channel. Create a Slack channel that is, fire content where, you let everybody in the company know that when we post something in the air, the faster you could go like and share this, And don't take advantage of it because you don't want your employees just being a big spam bot. But you can do it strategically and let your employees help spread the message as well. And by doing that, you'll really help your chances of virality. And I'm just amazed how many companies, even a small company, if you've got 10 people, why the heck aren't you, letting those 10 people give yourself a jump start from a marketing perspective? It's amazing how many people post something on their, go look at your company's Facebook page. Have you gone and liked the posts? Have you been involved in that as an employee? I mean, wouldn't you want to give a little bit more help to the algorithm for your marketing team? Because I see enterprise companies that have a Facebook page and they post something on there and they have 1 like, but they have 2,000 employees. Absolutely a joke, right? I mean, and this is like normal. Help your marketing team. And your marketing team, if you're in the marketing team, you have to set up an easy way to feed your employees content so that they can, know that they should engage with something.
Exactly. Cool. Wrapping up here. How do you get relevant conversation started? We're at the very end. Quick couple of tips from my man, Richard Harris, the godfather of sales, if you want to call him that. He's an OG in the game, but 4, I would say, commandments to live by. Do not pitch in your InMail. Do not pitch in your connection request. Do not attempt to be friendly in your invite request and then turn it around and pitch as soon as you're accepted. Do not tag people. Don't tag like 100 people in your post asking for their opinion when all you're trying to do is SEO yourself on LinkedIn. Please avoid all that stuff. Here's what you should do, though. When people comment on your post that you don't know, you should connect with them and engage immediately. Keep the conversation going. Please do not go for the hard sell. Play the long game. Ask for a collaboration of some sort. Hey, can I interview you in some capacity? Can we do a LinkedIn video collaboration? Ask your target buyers to join your webinars, your podcasts, whatever. Ask them for a quote that you can inject into a blog post, something soft just to, break the ice. Don't just straight up go for the sell because it never works. Comment on other popular threads diligently and intelligently. When you see someone else, with a strong point of view in a comment, you can also reach out to them and say, hey, I really connected with what you said on that thread on XYZ person's post. I would love to, get to know you better, stay connected, yada, yada, yada. And then you can also share hot threads with existing prospects who may have gone dark. That could reignite a few things for you. So that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Let's open it up for Q&A. This is what I'm really excited about. We've been on this webinar now for about an hour. We're going to open it up for some Q&A. We're going to try to invite some people
now,
onto the screen.
To give you a heads up, Gaetano, I've only got about 3 minutes, so you might be
okay. Cool. So we'll get one in with you, Jack, and then when you got to bounce, I'll take a few more, and then we'll call it a wrap. So James Murphy wants to know: do you recommend using video editing tools for small businesses without the creative team or experience? James, let's get you up here real quick. Jack can answer that for you because he is the king of hacking video edits for social media content. And for all sorts of mediums on LinkedIn and Instagram and all this stuff. So James, I believe we are inviting you up right now, buddy. So let's see if we can get you up here. There he is.
What up, James?
Hey, James, we don't hear your audio though. That's the only thing. We see you, but we don't hear you.
But probably got to go up to the top. That's the thing about these things when you invite people in is like they get the setup.
Yeah. So if you hover above your face, you should see camera and mic options, and then that should hook it up for you. Let's see. He's not muted, so that's good. Let's see. Toggle mic. Let's see.
Click on the top where he says above your head, change camera and mic.
Here he goes. He's gonna reconnect real quick. And he's still no audio. It's all good, James. I guess we could see your face and you can like wave and put your thumbs up. It's all good.
I'll answer the question though. So people are just dumbfounded by this, but I use an app called KineMaster, Kine Master on my phone. And I spent months learning the ins and outs of it, and I can literally transform any video real time. So some people are like, well, how did you just share that video, but you only shared 2 minutes of a 30-minute video? It's like, because I downloaded it from YouTube and then I clipped it out in this program. It took me like literally 3 minutes to rip it, take it out, and then embed it into the social post. So I'll put it in your KindMaster app.
Yep. And by the way, if you guys want to hit up Jack or hit up Creation Agency, I just put Jack's email in the chat. So it's jack@creationagency.com. You want to hit me up, Gaetano@nextiva.com. You can email any of us with anything you want. So thanks, James. I hope that helped you out, buddy. Let's get a few more people in. Jack, if you got to bounce, it's all good, man.
I'm gonna bounce right now.
Okay, dude.
Check out skillslab.io too. We've got like actionable ways to do a lot of the stuff that Gaetano and I are talking about, and it's all free.
Yeah. Go to skillslab.io. That's Jack's platform, and he does webinars all day long on all sorts of awesome topics. If you want to stay updated with that stuff, go to skillslab.io and subscribe. Hit up jack@creationagency.com, or just visit creationagency.com, or hit up Jack on LinkedIn, Jack Kosakowski on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to find him there. So I'll field a few more, Jack. If you got to bounce, it's all good, buddy. Thanks again, man. Let's see who we've got left. We've got Elsa, Jeremy. We got a lot of people. So are there any other people that just want to come up and give any feedback on the webinar, talk about any particular content or marketing challenges that they're having in their business? Just type me into the chat, into the sidebar, into the chat, and I will call you on up here and we can have a quick little chat. It looks like Brandon wants to know, how do you connect with C-level execs, the decision makers? Dude, I will tell you, man, the way that I do it is primarily by two ways. I create content that specifically targets them, and then I will send it to them. I know it sounds kind of brain dead, but it's really that simple. If I want to connect with a CIO in the construction industry, or a chief technology officer in, let's say, I don't know, cybersecurity, I will review with my content team how to create a gangbuster post that's going to speak to them. And then I will hit them up for a quote. I will say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, chief technology officer, we're building a fantastic guide that is all about how chief technology officers can better manage their IT teams. And I would love to get a quote from you that we can inject into this article. Would you mind if I share the article with you, and would you mind contributing a quote? And that is always a great icebreaker. And then from there, you can start building rapport and see where the conversation leads you. But it's all about finding unique ways to infiltrate that and kind of break the ice. So I hope that was a helpful tip for you, man. Let's see. Josh, he said he had to go. Thanks, man. Jeff, thanks so much. Let's see. Anybody else want to come on up? Just type me like this into the chat bar, and I will call you up for a quick chat. And we can talk about pretty much anything you want. It doesn't really matter. Don't be shy. If we have any brave souls on the webcast, I will call you up right about now. You're welcome, Brandon. Becky, can't wait for your next one. Thanks, Becky. Appreciate it. I hope this was great info for you. If you guys want to connect with me on LinkedIn, by the way, I'm going to send you guys my profile link. Drop it in the chat here. That's pretty easy to do. I'm going to go right here and drop it right here. Cool. Josh said the Yeti Pro mic is nice. Yeah. It's a must, man. I mean, it's USB. It's real easy to set up. You don't need any fancy softwares or anything like that. Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. You know, I don't do any webcasts without it. It's totally been a game changer. So if anybody's looking to get into podcasting or webinars and stuff, the Blue Yeti Pro is absolutely great. It's only about $150. You can get it on Amazon. Elsa, yeah, replay available. Yep. Definitely replay will be available. You should get it automatically sent to your inbox directly after this crowdcast is over. Yep, Catherine, yep, replay will absolutely be available. Also, you can subscribe to Nextiva on YouTube. We're going to post all the videos there as well. We've already posted a few of them. I'm just going to go to Nextiva's YouTube channel real quick and drop the link. So you guys can subscribe to us on YouTube if you want, and you can stay updated with all the webinars here, which is pretty cool. You can do that as well. I'm just going to copy the link here and drop it into the sidebar if you're interested. But yeah, you're also going to get an email with this replay link right to your inbox. So that's everything that you can do there. Anybody want to come up and talk to me before I close this thing out? I'm going to give us about another minute or so to see if there's any brave souls. Let's see who we got in the building. We've got Elsa, Stephanie, Alexandros. How you doing, man? Eric, Scott Turner, Johnny Smith. How are you? Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer? Suzanne still with us. Cool. Jeff, Alan, Catherine, Jason, Andrew Golden, Josh, Stelios, Gudrun, Carrie Webb, Emily Blosser, Stephanie. Cool. So I guess that's a wrap for today. If there's no more questions, Alexandra said Stelios is the best. I'm sure he is. I don't know him, but I'm sure he's a beast. Elsa, ciao, buon pomeriggio. Greetings from Venice, Italy. Anch'io sono italiano. All right, so ciao. Allora, ci vediamo. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. If a presto. If you guys have any questions, anything that you want to talk about, hit me up. You're welcome, Johnny Gaetano at nextiva.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And with that said, it's a wrap. We will see you next time. Buonasera. Ciao.